Hey folks, Les here again, and this is day 2 of 10 days of DS. So the thing that I'm going to give you today, this is probably going to be a little bit quicker video. I'm going to try to keep it quick. The thing that I want to give you today is a look at ways to quickly populate a scene with content, um, especially for foliage. I like doing fantasy stuff and outdoors images, which is kind of tricky sometimes. I've found inside iRay for a lot of reasons, inside Dev Studio for a lot of reasons. Um, but the probably one of the biggest things that that I ran into very quickly was, okay, what's the quickest way to just populate the scene with stuff, you know? So and especially like, say you've got a character that you've got framed up, and you're generally happy with the composition and pose and all that stuff. Um, but then you need to get some background elements in there and things just to kind of give it context and something interesting. So that stuff, 9 times out of 10, when you pull that stuff in out of your library, it's not going to come in where you want it. You're going to have to move it around and all that. And there are ways that you can actually use the positioning of one object to guide the position of another. And there's a few different things you could do with that. I mean, you could just bring stuff in and parent them all together, or group them and move the group. But that would assume that they're coming in all kind of in this in a place relative to each other, position relative to each other, that's going to work out once you group them and move them. What I want to show you is a way uh, to bring in one object, get it into place, and then sort of copy its position to another object that you'll bring in, or a duplicate. So right off the bat, I have this bush cluster right here, and this is from some stuff that I'm working on for some folks that I can't. You could see this on my screen, but but keep it hush hush, because this isn't out yet. So but it will be soon. So by the time you actually find this video and watch it, it should already be out. Anyway, so I've loaded in this brushes cluster, and I'm going to go into parameters. Oh, let's bring that back here. I need to make sure that I have it selected. I accidentally deselected there. So I'm going to go to brushes cluster, and then go into my parameters, my transforms, and you can control click these, each of these in edit mode, I believe. Yeah, there we go. If you right click and go to edit mode, like normally you can't do this. You have to be in edit mode to do it. You can click on a parameter, and then shift click to shift click or control shift click to I think either one works. Yeah, shift or control to add other parameters to what's selected. Then if you right click and go to copy, hit copy selected items, it'll take whatever the value of those items currently that is displayed, and copy that into memory. So then if we were to take another object, so I'm going to load in a different bush cluster, and then I'm just going to select, again, shift select those 3 parameters. I need to make sure I have that selected. So you see it's not in frame. So I'm going to shift select those 3 parameters, then right click and hit paste to selected items, and you see how that then popped into my view, because it's moving into the exact same position as the object that I copied those from. So the handy thing about that is, here I've got the character framed up. I don't want to move my camera. I know that this is the render that I want, the shot that I want, but I want to put some stuff in there. And I don't want to have to mess around with any guesswork about getting it into the shot. So I got one thing into the shot, I copy its positions, and then I can just paste those positions onto other things. So that's the first quick trick for getting the new content in a scene into position based on something else that you've already gotten into position. So I'm going to make a couple of quick tweaks to this. Let's make it a little larger. Let's do 80%. And also, I just changed the scaling on that object a little bit. Any of the things that I shift and click to select, any of those parameters, I could grab all of these and right click and copy them like that, and then paste those onto another object, and it's gonna move into place like that. Now, granted, sometimes when you do that, depending on where the pivot point of an object is, if it's a prop, you may see it not 100% exactly in the same place. If the pivot is off center, or just the shape of the object is drastically different, you may see some general oddities in placement, but the whole point of it is a broad stroke. It gets things roughly into place. So here, the next thing that I want to do is just finish populating this with some more foliage. So I've already got this tree in here, so I'm going to select the tree, right click and select it, and go to Edit, Duplicate Nodes, and that's going to give me a duplicate of that tree, and I'm going to move that guy off into the distance a bit. Not so far that I lose my move gizmo, though, because I don't really like using dials for much of anything. I know a lot of folks, just from doing this stuff with Poser for a long time, are very used to using dials for things. I am not. I have never liked that, and probably never will. So you'll almost always see me in any of my videos where I'm showing things like this. You'll see me working with things direct in the viewport, direct manipulation. And the last thing I'm doing there, once that's in position, is I wanted to bring it back to ground level. So just like in Poser, I hit Control D, and that is a command for dropping an item to the floor, which floor is kind of an odd term. I guess you could call it the floor. It's really zero space. It's zero of on the y-axis. There's a lot of terms that people have become comfortable using inside Poser and Studio that if you come to this stuff from the broader from the 3D world outside of that, with things like Maya and so on, then some of those terms can be a little odd. But so anyway, Control D drops something to the floor, which is to say it returns it to its relative 0 point on the y-axis. So anyway, that is a quick look at just a way of copying parameters and duplicating things to help populate a scene. So hope that's helpful, and come back for another video. Thanks.